One of the foundations of big, hybrid, orchestral, epic music is big brass chords. And I'm sure this is a style of music plenty of you like to write. I do, because it's actually a lot of fun. And in this video, this orchestration hack, I just want to show you how in one track of my latest album, I added some elements to make my brass choir sound a bit bigger and a bit more interesting in terms of its texture. So let's dive in. If you haven't listened to the track yet, I will link it above, so I won't go through it in this video. I just want to focus on this one particular section, which I'll play for you now first. So the core of this particular piece of the track is the big brass chords, and I just want to take those apart and see what's inside of them. So as its core, we have just a brass. And one of the first things I like to do when I write these kinds of brass chords is to add choir. This is a great way to add a little bit of air and a little bit of breath to these big sounding chords to make them sound even bigger. I even put the men's choir here in the brass folder. So it really opens up. And for this particular track, I wanted to add another little thing to make the texture a little bit more interesting. And for that we go to the Synth folder, and I have here a distorted cello, which comes from EastWest Ghostwriter. And it's the sound we open the piece with, if I go all the way to the beginning. This sound is a little bit processed, and later on I add a stutter in the sound. So this is a sound that we know, that have used in the track more often from the get-go. And I use this sound to add to the brass choir as well. I added a little bit of filter automation that during the chord, a little bit of the high end is cut off. So if we scroll to the chorus or the climax, because of this movement in this synth patch and the different timbre it has and the fact that it is evolving in one chord, it adds a little bit more texture, a little bit more interest to the brass choir I'm having here. And if I finally add the second layer of choir, that's when we get the full sound that I want. So that's just a couple of ways how I try to add a little bit more to my brass choir and my big brass chords to make them sound bigger and a bit more interesting. And there's of course loads of other ways to do it, but the choir one in particular I use really often. Basically in everything I add choir. And the synth one was especially for this track because I use the sound more often. If you have any tips on how to enhance your brass chords and your brass choir, please do share them in the comments. If you liked it, please show. And subscribe if you haven't to see more of these kinds of videos. And as always, from my space to yours, have a great day.